What up, people? Chris here to talk about last night's events, post events, I should say. Apologies for not getting this up sooner, but my back was just in major wreckage shape last night. Was in a lot of pain, so just wasn't really feeling doing a video. Probably for the best though. I was pretty worked up after the decision for the Marquez Pacquiao fight. Let's just get to that real quick. Juan Manuel Marquez loses by majority decision to Manny Pacquiao. I honestly, let's just start from the jump. I thought Marquez won the fight. I thought he did enough to win the fight. I know you want to say, oh, Manny Pacquiao threw more punches, landed more punches, was making the fight, so to speak. Well, Marquez is a counter fighter, so what do you expect? He's not going to be the guy going forward for the majority of the bout. I remember in my predictions video, the first thing I talked about in this event, and the thing that I noticed most throughout the broadcast, do not listen to Jim Lampley or the HBO broadcast team when scoring this fight. And if anyone scored the fight solely based, being influenced by Jim Lampley and Harold Letterman, then I don't think you got a fair assessment of what took place. Particularly Jim Lampley. Jim Lampley is he's notorious for being a biased announcer, whether it's Oscar De La Hoya, Roy Jones in his prime, Jermaine Taylor at a time, Manny Pacquiao now. I'm sure there's been plenty of others in the past. But yeah, it was unbelievable how much he was, at the end of it, it seemed like every round, it's like, Manny Pacquiao landed a punch there and stole a round. He probably didn't have to win that round. It's like, really? He landed a punch at the end of the round and he didn't have to steal the round? Okay. But yeah, his bias was just completely just out of control. I just think if you're a broadcaster, you should probably give a fair and, balanced analysis. And that's definitely not the case with Jim Lampley in regards to Manny Pacquiao's fights. In particular, or not in particular, but once again last night. And Harold Letterman, he said, they asked him mid-rounds, I believe, who he had winning and why. He said, he said it time and time again, he goes for the aggressor. He just says effective aggression. I don't know how effective necessarily Manny Pacquiao's aggression was last night. Look at how much, a little success Manny had it against Marquez as the handful of his most recent opponents before that. He also pointed out ring generalship. He thought Manny Pacquiao going forward was being the ring general. I don't necessarily believe that Manny Pacquiao was being the ring general in the fight. I think that if anything, the fight was playing out more so the way that Marquez would have wanted it to, based on, like I said, the lack of success that Pacquiao was having compared to recent fights. And of course, defense. He pointed out, look at their faces. Really? Look at their faces? I don't think either sustained a lot of damage just based on punches. So I thought Harold Letterman's reasons for having Manny Pacquiao win the fight, based on his criteria, weren't all that valid either. Honestly, and I'm not trying to disparage Pacquiao or anything like that. I thought he fought a good fight, but I just thought Marquez, the fight was more in line with what he wanted to accomplish, and I thought he was having more success in the rounds. Sure, Manny Pacquiao occasionally did land some hard shots, and did land more shots, but I just thought Marquez seemed to be controlling the way that the fight was playing out. I just thought that the way the fight was unfolding the way that he would want it to. And I thought he was getting the better of Manny Pacquiao per rounds. I guess if you go, you score rounds solely upon who lands more punches or who throws more, I guess you give it to Manny Pacquiao in that regard. Some of the rounds, or the majority of the rounds. But I think that a fight can boil down to more than just that at times. I think it's who is having more success, or he just seems to be in more control of the fight. And I just thought that Marquez was in more control of more rounds than Manny Pacquiao was. I thought Manny looked quite discouraged in the bout. He wasn't able to get on track. There were more than occasions it seemed like where Marquez was landing the big shots, and Manny would try to respond. Like I got to get some get back in here. But even then at times he wasn't having the success he had. In particular in the first two bouts. I thought that, more than anything, I thought Juan Manuel Marquez did better in the third bout than he did in either of the first two. And I thought that Manny Pacquiao, this was probably his, the first fight. It depends, outside of the first round. But I thought that Manny Pacquiao was the least effective in the third bout against Marquez than he was in the prior two bouts. Yet he still got the win, and Marquez still lost. So, if you can decipher that, basically I'm saying I thought Marquez did the best in the third bout, and Pacquiao was least effective in this bout, and yet Pacquiao still won. And it's not just that Manny Pacquiao won. You can make a case for Manny Pacquiao winning. I don't have a problem with that. could have been a draw. But the fact that Juan Manuel Marquez did not win on any of the judges' scorecards is my biggest issue with the fight. When it went to a decision, I did not think that Marquez was going to get the decision. First off, I didn't think Marquez was even going to make it through all 12 rounds. So he surprised me by doing that. But once it went to a decision, I knew that Marquez wasn't going to get the fight. I think a majority of fans realized it, even though a lot of people thought they wanted to believe that he could got it based off the way the fight went. But in all honesty, I think if you really look at boxing, you kind of figured he wasn't going to get that decision, and unfortunately he didn't. Just a shame. See him. I don't want to say he got robbed, but I say that he got wronged. Mostly, like I said, just not even getting one scorecard. You know, when you look at the uproar, I mean, I'm on Twitter, like a lot of fight fans, and I was listening to Roper Dope Radio's post-fight show. Shouts out to those guys. And it just seemed like the majority of the feedback was Marquez got screwed. Marquez should have won that fight. If Marquez would have won the decision, I honestly don't think, aside from Pacquiao's fans, you would have had that much of an uproar. And it wasn't Marquez fans necessarily that were having a problem with it, because it was just, I think, boxing fans in general. I mean, of course, Marquez fans and Mexican fans had an issue with the decision, but I think it was boxing fans in general, not necessarily fans of either guy or favor one or the other, that had a problem with the decision, and that's myself included. So, you know, I don't know the exact score, I don't know the exact rounds, but I thought that Marquez deserved to win the fight, in my opinion, based on what I saw. And I don't really want to see a fourth fight. I know they're talking about doing a fourth fight in sometime next year. I forgot the exact date, Aaron, but I'm not sure that Marquez can improve on last night's performance. And even if he does, I still don't think he can get the decision. I still don't think he's ever going to get a fair shake. Not to say, once again, that he got robbed. I mean, it's nothing against Manny Pacquiao. Nothing against Manny Pacquiao fans. It's the judges. And, of course, HBO commentary. Not that they have anything to do with the decision, but joke. Please, Manuel Stewart. Jim Lampley. If Manny Pacquiao needs a criminal defense attorney, Jim Lampley is the go-to guy, because he was making a lot of self-defense cases for Manny Pacquiao after the fight. It's not necessary, Lampley, for you to defend the decision, unless you feel that the decision was unjust. Anyways, real quick, I want to do UFC thoughts. Usually I don't try to mix these together, but I don't really have a lot of time to do a separate video. Ben Henderson, good win over Clay Guida, gets Frankie Edgar in Japan in February. Look forward to that fight. Main event, UFC heavyweight champion Cain Velasquez loses his title to Junior Dos Santos. Debut fight on Fox Network Television. Didn't go as planned, in my opinion. Was a big letdown. They should have showed that Henderson Guida fight first. You had, 40 minutes of talk before you got to the fight, and then the fight ends in like a minute and a half or whatever the time was. Just a letdown. It was deflating. Even though you get first round knockout, that's kind of what you want in a heavyweight division at times. Just with all the build up to it and for it to end that quick, it was very anticlimactic. It just never really got a real big build going, as far as you didn't really get a chance to really get into the fight because it ended so quickly. Good win for Junior Dos Santos. Cain's going to just have to find a way to come back. I'm sure there'll be a rematch somewhere down the line. That's neither here nor there. Shouts out to my boy Manny, though, and Legend of MMA, who both told me that Junior was going to win the first round by stoppage. You guys both called it. I was wrong. But yeah, I think the biggest loss for the UFC is the fact that at the end of the night, all the talk, or the majority of the talk in the combat sports world, was focused on the Manny Pacquiao, Juan Manuel Marquez fight and decision, and UFC was completely overshadowed. So, things didn't go as planned for the UFC, in my opinion. But we'll see. They'll move forward. They always do, and I'm going to continue to be a fan of both. Anyways, that's it for now. I'm going to be doing Science Finance Radio show shortly. If you see this when I first post it. If not, you can always check out the podcast on demand, or whatever the podcast. Link in the description for the video as always, as well as link to ScienceVinance.com and link to my Twitter. What are your guys' thoughts on Marquez Pacquiao? The decision, who you had winning, and why? And if you had a problem with the broadcast or the Jim Lampley and any of that stuff, please feel free to voice your opinion on it. Or if you think I'm being wrong, feel free to say so. And if you watch UFC, Velasquez Dos Santos, want to hear thoughts on that? Were you cool with the way the fight ended? Do you think it was disappointing for the UFC? And any other thoughts in general? That's it for now. Till next time, guys, I'm out. Well, I'll be out in a second when I click this stop button. Now I'm out.